All right, what's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. And I'm your boy, AT2. And today we got a special guest. I'm excited for this interview. I've been talking about this for a while now, and it's finally here. She is here. She is live on camera. So without further introduction, let me go ahead and introduce you guys to our guest. But before I do that, because you know that the people always say I'll be begging and stuff for money. Let me go ahead and put this cash out. Boom! If you'd like to donate anything to the show, go ahead and donate $1 or two. But without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce actress, comedian, and now director, Alycia Cooper!
Woo! Hey, how you doing, AT2?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good. I got a question before you start interviewing me. I got to interview you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Where the heck is AT1?
Well, AT senior, he currently at home. I got kicked out the house at 23. They told me I had to leave. So,
Well, look, I always tell young women, find somebody that's a junior, because there's a senior somewhere around. So they got a daddy somewhere that done kept their foot on their neck. They kicked AT2 ass out the house. That's the guy you want, because AT1 gonna keep AT2 accountable. So find you a junior, because that means somewhere around is a senior, and you need that 1-2 punch right there to keep the house in line.
right, you right about that. Thank you so much for joining the show today. It's funny because I had discovered one of your movies, and we'll talk about that later on Instagram. And then I was all like, you know what? Let me find out who the director of this is. And then I was able to find you on Instagram. I hit you up. You were nice and was all like, hey, I got a couple other films, that I did. So check these out. I watched them. I love all three of them. I'll give you like my favorites in order too later on. But let's go ahead and get started. How'd you, where are you from? What's kind of like your background and everything?
Okay, I'm from Temple Hills, Maryland, right outside of DC, and what they're doing in my home area is criminal. And graduated from the University of Maryland College Park. And while I was a student there, I started interning at BET in DC. And that was the best experience of my life. That was the best experience. It changed my life because I knew I wanted to work in entertainment. I just didn't know exactly in which area. And working at BET was wonderful. Anytime you happy to be driving somewhere to work for free, you in your right field. So
you gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. The first show I worked on was Rap City, and the host was Chris Thomas. And I can remember the very first guest that I worked with was Biz Markie.
Wow.
And Biz was the hot thing at the time. And it was a trip because only a year or two was CDs becoming a big thing. And the sound quality in a CD was so much better than a cassette tape. So you put something in and you thought you was at a concert, didn't you?
Right, that's true.
So the artists would come with their publicists, and the publicists would bring a box of CDs, their promotional CDs. My first CD was a free Biz Markie CD, and you couldn't tell me I hadn't made it. I got a free CD.
Oh, man. You was on cloud nine, huh?
I was on cloud nine. So from then on, that's where I got my start, was BET. And then after college, I went back and I got hired and got paid. And I started working on a show called In Your Ear. It was an alternative music video show with a host named Brett Walker. And so
I don't remember that one.
Fishbone and Dion Ferris and all the more alternative artists. It was wonderful. Tony Rich,
I love Dion Ferris too. They say I'm hopeless.
Like a pit with a hole in it.
Yeah, people don't know about that. That's a classic. Go look that up if y'all don't know about that.
That's Love Jones all day long.
Right.
But yes, I worked there, and then I continued to work there, did some other things, and then I decided I was going to move to LA. Thank you so much,
Ariella.
And I decided I was going to move to Los Angeles. And the reason I wanted to move to LA was because I had seen Living Single, and I love that sitcom. It reminded me of a black female Golden Girls. with the
Right.
same 4-point opposition. And Golden Girls was my favorite sitcom before Living Single. So I said, I'm going to go out here and create sitcoms. I ain't had no idea what it took to create a sitcom. I just knew I was on my way. So moved out to LA, and I loved everything about LA. First, the weather. It was so beautiful. The palm trees, everything was just so, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And back then, LA was hot all year long. It's cold now.
Yeah.
But it was hot all year long back then. And that's what I moved out there to do. And I didn't get to work on a sitcom until 6 years after I arrived. I got a job as a writer's trainee on The Parkers, starring Monique.
I love The Parkers.
That was a very good experience because I sat in a writer's room for 26 weeks with the top writers and creators in the business. Sarah Finney Johnson got her start on The Jeffersons, and she was one of the creators, and she was in the room every day. Bill Bullwhip, he created 227, set in Washington, D.C. So, I love 227 with Sandra Clark and me. Right. So I'm sitting in the room with these people.
You can't believe it. You're like starstruck, huh?
I can't believe it. And we're sitting in this room with no windows. It was one door in and out, but all of you are in this room, big conference room, every day for hours and hours and hours on end. And it was a wonderful experience. It was like a family.
That's awesome.
Yes,
and so how was your experience, if you don't mind me asking, because Monique has been in the public eye recently in the last couple of years, and it just seemed like people have really been giving her a hard time. And I love Monique. I think she is hilarious. How was your experience working with her?
Yeah, it makes you a little teary-eyed because when I first met Monique in 2004, Monique is such a beautiful person, a wonderful personality. She is so talented, and every time she would see you, she'd say, "Hey, family," that was just her. And around the time of Precious, which brought out all the stuff that had happened to her in her past, I started to see a change. But one thing that Monique has never changed then is how she's very, very, very much for equality. She's very much for what's fair and what's right, and she's very vocal about it. And I hadn't seen her in a long time. Monique, Queen Latifah, there's a few of them that when they would get hired to do these jobs and they were at the head of it, they would say to the hiring people, I need to see some African Americans in some high positions here. I know for a fact that they said that. And that's why they were hired. If you don't say those words, it's not gonna happen. And so I got work because she said that. I worked on one season of her Monique's Fat Chance. It was on Oxygen, the big girls.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. There was a lot of black folks in the higher ranking positions on that show because Monique spoke up. People don't know behind the scenes what she does and what Queen Latifah does. But so and I didn't see her again for years. I saw her maybe 2 years ago, my birthday weekend. She was headlining in Las Vegas. And I said, I'm going to go down there just to say hello. And I'm just going to go down there for my birthday, and I'm going to say hello to Monique. It's been a long time. After the show was over, Monique, she takes pictures with people, and they, she meets the guests that.
Right, she does like a little meet and greet thing.
Like a little meet and greet at the end. So I waited off to the side until the meet and greet was over. And, like I said, it had been a few years. And when Monique saw me, she was like, come back here. So we went back.
She remembered you.
She remembered me. So we went back into her dressing room. Monique gave me like a 4-minute hug. And we just held on to each other. It was like a family reunion. And, she's just a beautiful person. And, people only see the activist side of her sometimes. But, she's fearless.
That's one thing about it. She is fearless. And so I remember you saying that, when you kind of got into the writer's room and stuff like that, reality TV became like a big thing. So you had to make that transition. How was that like?
You know what? Reality TV is tricky because when you get into it, you think it's going to be one way, and it's never that one way. And then you have to decide because you work long hours, but the money is good. You know, so you have to then decide, is this what I want to do, even for the pay? So what happened for me was I got into this reality show thing. I just got into this thing because I started working for Tracy Edmonds at Edmonds Entertainment. And she got BET's College Hill. She had a show called a reality show for Little Kim called Countdown to Lockdown. I worked on that. She had a reality show for DMX. I worked on that. You know, so I wasn't the DMX and the Little Kim. That was okay. I knew what that was, and it was what I thought it would be. College Hill. The reason why I agreed to do College Hill because I was like, oh, good. This is a good opportunity to show. It was like I felt like a different world instead of different world. The comedy. This could be a different world. The reality show. And what a different world did was it caused HBCU enrollments to skyrocket. It was a very positive thing that Bill Cosby's imagery changed a lot of stuff. Black folks who didn't even think about going to college went.
Right. And how important is that? Like to see representation, you know, it's very important for us to see that.
Very important for us to see that there's other things out there other than just what we've been exposed to. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sign on to this College Hill thing. It turned into something else.
One thing I remember vividly was the scene where the two girls were fighting and then she like was hitting her with the shoe.
And all this blood was running down her forehead. And yeah, it got so bad that I was like, I really want them to take my name off the credits. Like that's how bad it got. I was like, will they be offended if I ask them to take my name off these credits? Woo! So, you know, I mean, it was what it was. I don't think the imagery was the best. What we wanted to do was we wanted to show a lot of them going to class and the positive things. They were like, that's not going to bring in the ratings. So the footage that we would get of them in class was on the cutting room floor. You know, they considered that boring. You know, and
it was all about the drama at that point.
All about the drama. So anything educational was cut out.
Did you hear anything about the reboot? I know they've been kind of teasing this thing about doing a College Hill reboot. Have you heard about that or no?
I haven't heard about that. I have, but I wouldn't be surprised. It rated very well.
And you know what? The only person that really, well, I can't speak to everyone because I don't know everyone, but the one that kind of continued with the whole reality thing was Mr. Ray. He's on Love and Hip Hop and stuff like that. He was originally on College. That's where I remember. I was like, why does he look so familiar? Oh, because he was on College Hill.
Yeah, he was in the Virginia season. So yeah, and I still see a couple of them. Willie does commercials. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Willie's doing well. So it's a couple of them that are still in the industry. A lot of them left. But yeah, so after that experience, I decided that because I started doing stand-up comedy in the year 2000. So about 2008, I said, okay, well, I wasn't able to be staffed on a sitcom. Reality television hit. I'm not really feeling what you have to do to get the ratings high. So I said, well, let me go ahead and try to do the stand-up full-time. And that's what I did. So I started doing stand-up full-time. And I mean, it was rough because in the beginning, you're at the back of the line. You know, the only way you can make money, real money in stand-up is to be the headliner, which means the person who goes last and closes the show. And I wasn't headline. I wasn't getting the headlining spots. I'm featuring and the money was not coming in. So I ended up moving out of my home. I had to sell it. I ended up moving from LA back to Maryland. I started all the way over.
Oh, you started all the way over.
All the way over. So yeah, I started all the way over. Because you know, you move back home, you don't really have no bills.
Right.
You relied on everybody else. You're like, I'm home. Now what we eating? What's for dinner?
What you cooking? Right.
So I started all the way over. So I stayed in Maryland for a year. Then I moved to New York City because as a comic, you're taught the killers come out of New York City. Everybody would move to New York to get their chops. So Dave Chappelle left DC, went to New York, became a killer. Wanda Sykes left Virginia, moved to New York, became a killer. Everybody moved to New York City. So I said, well, let me try this thing. So I moved to New York City for 1 year. And let me tell you, it made me a lot better comedian, but it was rough.
It was rough.
Yeah, you couldn't.
What about them rats, though? I'm scared of them rats. Them rats is like...
You know, Yeah, the rats are big as possums. It was a different world. When you come from the suburbs, New York City might not be the thing for you. You know, I'm used to getting in my own car, listening to my Anita Baker, riding by myself, clearing my head. You on a subway with 900,000 people, they falling on top of you. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. I ain't know it was that many ethnicities in America until I got to New York City.
Everybody, it's one of the most diverse places ever.
Yeah, 85 different languages. You know, everybody begging. As soon as you get on the subway and them doors close, they know you captive. So they start begging. Yeah, and I was like, whoa, this ain't for me. Let me get back home. So I did that for a year. It's hard to get a cab as a black person. I just have to get white people to get my cab. And then I jump in it. It was just too much. But
a lot of people think that's a joke, but no, you really can't get a taxi.
You can't get a cab. So, but what you can do as a comic is 5 shows a night. And that's what I was doing. So I would do like 5 shows a night. And that's how you get stronger.
Okay.
So when I left a year later, I had done 1 million shows. So after that, I moved back home. Then I said, okay, what are you going to do next? I said, you know what? I would really like to sleep in my own bed at night. Let me try to see if I can go to Las Vegas and get a residency in one of these smaller casinos. I didn't know what that entailed either. You know, so I moved to Vegas, and I was in Vegas for a year. It was hot as hell. 115 degrees. People's interiors of their cars was melting. so you had that.
I know you wasn't used to that.
Wasn't used to. It was so hot that when you went outside, you'd be going, ouch, 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 because it felt like your skin is burning off.
Right.
So I worked a ton of Vegas casinos, but I could not get a residency.
So yeah, and I heard it's hard to try to get a residency and stuff, you know.
Yeah. So I did that for a year. Then I moved back to LA. And
okay.
That's what I've been ever since. And it's a trip because this time going back to LA, I don't know what happened. I was there 1 year and I got a call from the Comedy Store where I had been working periodically since coming back. And they said, we're going to put your name on the wall next month. And I said, put my name on the wall? So like every June or something of each year, they put maybe 20 new names on the wall. And they just, they get a little bit of press. And once your name goes on the wall, you then become a paid regular.
Oh, okay.
And so them calling me and putting my name on the wall with Richard Pryor and Roseanne and, all the greats, Eddie Murphy.
All the heavy hitters.
Colin and, so that really changed my life because now I'm qualified I can stay at home. I don't have to go anywhere. I can work at the Comedy Store in the main room on Friday and Saturday. Me working at the Comedy Store in the main room on Friday and Saturday, it paid me enough where I could stay home without traveling anymore. And that's what I had done. I would still be doing it if the pandemic hadn't hit. I'm in El Paso, Texas right now because the Comedy Store is closed because California is closed.
Right. Locked. We all the way locked down here in Cali. Y'all don't know.
Y'all, we can't do nothing. But Texas is a little looser. So that's why I'm out here in Texas working. But I haven't been on the road in a year. And last night was my first show headlining the comedy club in a year.
Yeah. And how was it headlining the show? Like, you took basically a year off, not on your own, but because of the pandemic. And so coming back, like, how was it?
Yeah. I mean, I could feel the rust. I was a little rusty. Because doing 45 minutes, that's not a small feat when you haven't done it in a year. Once you've been doing it for a while, you can flow. And I had to remember old jokes. There's nothing worse than starting a joke and not remember how you're supposed to end it. So you sitting there go, woo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Trying to remember the damn ending. So, so I did a lot of new stuff because I couldn't really remember a whole lot of the old stuff. And then I did some crowd work. I was supposed to do 45 minutes and I lost track of the time and ended up doing 1 hour and 3 minutes. But the audience was so nice out here in El Paso, Texas.
They awesome.
call this a blue city in a red state. So the people were so cool. One lady walked up to me and my feature act. His name is Lawrence Killebrew from Philadelphia. Walked up to me and Lawrence, and the lady gave both of us a check. Young lady, like maybe in her 40s. She gave both of us a check. She said, I didn't have any cash on me, but I liked you both so much. I was like, oh, that is so sweet.
That was nice.
I have never been given a check at the end of a show before. It was $20 each. I was like, oh, this, I ain't never leaving El Paso. They handing out checks like this.
Right. Just make sure it don't bounce, right?
Long as it don't bounce. Long as it don't bounce. Because they're going to charge me and take my 20 back.
Right. Ain't that something they charge you for the check bounces? Crazy, right? Them banks be getting their money.
They do. They mafia. But yeah,
right.
It was fun. It was fun. I had a good time. And I have one show a night, tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday night. Then I fly back Monday.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. And then where are you performing at again for people out there?
The comic strip of El Paso.
Okay, I'll definitely go ahead and put that in the description as well, too. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of want to get started talking about how you kind of made your directing debut. The first movie was Trade. How did that all come about? Was that filmed back in 2019 before the pandemic, or
yes.
Okay?
Yes, that was filmed in 2019. I don't believe it came out in UrbanFlix until like April of 2020, somewhere around there. And and it's one of the highest rated things on the UrbanFlix app. It's always in the top, like, the top viewerships, because
it's number 3 currently. That's the poster right there.
Yeah, okay, it's currently number 3. Oh, go ahead, Trade. Trade is the little engine that could.
Yo, so I wanted to tell you how I discovered this. So I was on Instagram, and Instagram, they have the sponsors and stuff like that. And so I kept seeing this commercial, and so I tuned in, and I was like, what is this? And so it was like about 2 guys, and like they were in prison. They had like as Jada Pinkett Smith would say, an entanglement. So they had an entanglement. I was like, I ain't watching this. But it kept coming and coming and coming. And so I was like, okay, finally, let me go ahead and just watch it. Yo, y'all, this movie is dope. Go watch it. This short film. Like, how did you come up with the idea and everything for this?
Okay, well, the thing is, a lot of things for me go back to what I've learned in the past and the different things I've done. We didn't really talk about it, but I also produced daytime talk shows in the past. So, as a comic, you're taught that you don't want to sound like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to sound like Richard Pryor. You don't want to sound like Dave Chappelle. You don't want to sound like you want to be the first Alycia. You know what I'm saying? Right. Comparisons are okay, but you still need to come across as being authentically yourself. And it takes time as a comic to get into a zone and get comfortable. Because when I first started, I used to have a problem with silence. I felt like if the audience was silent, I was bombing. That
would make me nervous too.
Especially in the beginning. That's not the case. When the audience is silent, it means they're listening to you.
Oh.
As long as you have a punchline coming, it doesn't matter. One of the greatest comics to study is Bill Cosby, because he tells long stories, and there might be long bouts of silence as he's telling the story, but he's got punchlines all throughout, and the end punchline is a dagger.
That's gonna get you.
That's the one that's gonna get you. So you're listening. Then he's got a joke. You're listening, then boom. That's the way the greats do it. So once I started studying, I was like, okay, because I used to have to hear a laugh like every 60 seconds. I felt like I was bombing. So I would write like that. And that comes from being insecure. Now I don't have to, I'm not in that place anymore.
Right. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, it was a process. I'm like, okay, I have a punchline coming down the pike at some point. But, so as a comic, because of that, when I switched over to filmmaking and writing films, I said, I don't want to do topics that everybody's seen a million times already.
Right.
So I said, well, what topic is something that we haven't heard about really much at all? We've never really seen movies about what 2 black men do in prison.
That's true.
We know they're not sitting in there knitting. You know what I'm saying? And these men in prison, they ask for condoms. A lot of times they're denied it, things like that. So I'm like, okay, well, let me write a movie that starts with that. 2 men in prison, they have an entanglement, and then the guy gets out, because the other guy ain't really supposed to be getting out like that. But he got out on a technicality, and he thought the relationship was more than it was, and the guy thought he was clear.
Right.
So he gets out, and now he's like, "Where my boo at?"
Right. He back on the hunt. He all like, "Oh no, I gotta find you. You know,
And
you ain't leaving this."
yeah, he know the man got a wife and kids. You know, so now you want to act like you was done wrong, and that's the premise of the film.
Right. Let me tell you, it was awesome. Just like the production of it and everything, because it's a short film, and so the hope is to get it, a feature film. Correct?
Yeah, it was a half hour. I had about maybe 45 minutes worth of footage, but shorts are supposed to be pretty short, especially to get them in the festivals. Festivals have changed from pre-COVID to now. You know,
Right.
pre-COVID festivals, they'd rather have 3 10-minute films than one 30-minute film. You know, but it still got into a lot of festivals, and my goal was to make it into a feature film, but we're in talks right now at Urban Flix to turn it into an 8-episode series.
Ooh. Hey, speak it into existence. It's gonna happen. And I want to be like the janitor in the back or something. I want to start. I'm trying to get me a job too.
You know, I want you to be real mad. I'm tired of I ain't cleaning up no more jizz. That's gonna be your line. And you gotta
I'm down for it.
You gotta be real convincing. You gotta sell it.
I can't. I was gonna do it right now, but I can't stop. Anyway, with Trade, that kind of was that a script that you had already had written like a long time ago, or it was something that you came up with on the fly and kind of was like, boom, here you go? What was the process for it?
Yeah, well, what happened was I wanted to move into directing narratives, and they're not going to just let me direct a narrative without proving that I can do it. You know, other groups of people can direct something without having to prove that they can do it. Me being black and female, I'm going to have to prove it, and I'm going to have to write my way into it. So I just sat down and I wrote. It didn't take me long to write it because it was a short, and it started out at maybe like 15 pages. And then when Urban Flix got it, it ballooned up to like 24 pages with their notes. And then we started shooting it. But once I decided what my whole premise was going to be, and then I started writing out the characters, it didn't take me long to write the short film.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. And then when it came to like finding the actors for it, how was that process as well, too?
We had a whole casting process. 2 casting directors, Natasha Ward and Phaedra Harris. And we sat in a room and we just brought people in. The agents sent in their clients. And let me tell you about Sally Yu, who played Felonious.
Oh, Felonious, yes.
Yeah, now for me, I said I already know the criticism I'm going to get. Felonious cannot be dark-skinned. That's what I said. Because everybody gonna start writing me. You hate black people. You Tyler Perry? Why the dark-skinned man gotta be? So I told everybody. I said Felonious cannot be dark-skinned. I don't want to hear it. I already know the criticism. I'm gonna be somebody who hate. I don't want to hear it. So let's get some light-skinned actors in here to audition for Felonious. So we had a bunch of people come in for Zoe and Felonious.
Oh, okay.
Sal, we brought Sal in for Zoe, and Sal did a great job. He's a really great actor. He takes his craft seriously. Sal stays in acting classes. He's really good. He is really good. So he came in and he was so good auditioning for Zoe. But I was like, Zoe cannot be shorter than Felonious, because Zoe's supposed to be the one everybody wants. Right. So I told him, I said, I really like this guy. I said, have him come back in and read for Felonious. He came back in and killed the Felonious audition too.
Yeah, I believe he's Felonious. You know, like you can't tell me, like that's how good he was.
That's how good he was. I'm like, I'm not gonna penalize him for being dark skinned. The man, he won the role. He was the best we saw. He's gonna get the role. I'm just going to deal with the criticism. You know. So he did a great job. And then Blue is working everywhere. And we got the cusp of him blowing up. So Blue, he killed his role as Zoe, and they were a dynamic duo as far as I'm concerned. I saw this movie as Moonlight and Brokeback Mountain meet Fatal Attraction.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah, definitely.
You
And
know?
they played the roles so well. Like just everything came along with it. And for it to be a short, like you only have so many scenes and so much time to really tell a story. And I just want to applaud you because you conveyed that so well in this film.
Yeah, thank you. I think we did a really good job of getting our point across in the allotted amount of time.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so now a pandemic has hit, and then you kind of like, okay, well, what am I gonna do? So you write 2 more films and shoot 2 films actually. So let's start out with Fat Stripper. How did that come about?
Okay, Fat Stripper came about with just being in a pandemic and not having any way to earn your way into a living. And I was thinking, what if you're somebody who's affected by a pandemic and you don't qualify for unemployment?
Hey, that's true. That's a reality.
Millions of Americans. That's millions of Americans. So I said, okay, so now you have the desperate times call for desperate measures. So now you go back to the things you can do and the people you've known from the past, and you try to recreate something you used to do for money, especially money you can get under the table.
Right.
So now I'm like, I got to go back to stripping. So never mind that the stripper body been gone over the 20. We're going to ignore that. And I want everybody else to ignore it because I feel like if I get back in the Smitties, my old regular's going to come back.
Right. And I just love the way you did Fat Stripper because I was all like, nobody else could have played that role except you. Let me go ahead and play the trailer right now so the people can know what we're talking about. Here we go.
Your brain. If you touch an affected surface, you're screwed. Literally.
I can't afford to lose this job right now. And it's bad when I'm down to my last 4 gallons of Haagen-Dazs and 2 bags of Ruffles.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Girl, my panties are like a cop's body count around any black man. Off. You know what I'm saying? May I help you?
I'm here to see Smitty.
I can't loan you any money.
I'm here to strip. Oh, we fat shaming now.
Truly.
All right, you can start tonight. Be here at 9.
To promote me, Smitty, you stuck on these toothpicks. What you don't realize is that is no longer in.
She certainly was one hot piece of tail.
And now, it's the return of Woo-Chee!
Oh!
Alycia Cooper stars in Fat Stripper. She strips for chips.
So the movie Hustler, right, with Jennifer Lopez, Cardi B, Lizzo.
Yeah.
They had to like really practice and stuff like that. So was there any training for the film for this one?
No, we didn't have training in the budget. But what we did was I had a body double.
Oh,
there was a girl who was doing splits because there's a scene where I'm learning to try to get back in shape and trying to learn how to work the pole now. And then you see that montage, and then it ends with splits. That was a body double.
That wasn't you?
That was not me.
I was gonna ask you. If you
Her name was Charlie. Let me tell you how I found Charlie.
Yeah, how you found Charlie? I'm gonna write that down.
So I got on Craigslist looking for a pole dancer.
Oh, okay.
The pole dancer, his name is Eric. He replied, and I told him what I needed. I said, "Do you by any chance know a plus size woman who's can pole dance and do splits?" He said, "Oh yeah, my friend Charlie." So they rode together.
That is funny.
I learned a lot in this process because I just got 2 of the same outfits. Me and Charlie had the same shoes, socks, tops, leggings, and wig. I bought 2 wigs. So we plopped one on Charlie's head and plopped one on my head. And I told my director of photography, shoot her a lot on the back and the side. And that's what we did. And so when I did the split at the end, that was not me. If I'd done that split, I'd still be down there right now.
Still today. Well, I want to applaud you because a lot of people don't know you wrote directed and started. How was that directed and then having to run? And how was that whole process? Doing both.
It was a lot. It was a lot. And you're going to be sweaty because you're running. As the director, every single question that has to be answered comes to you. The wardrobe people come to you. The props guys coming to you. The DP is coming to you. Everybody, the script supervisors coming to you. So you're answering 1,000 questions, but you have to direct and stay in character. You know?
Right.
So I'm trying to memorize my lines, and then I'm answering these questions, and then I'm on stage. You can't be on stage and behind the monitor watching the shots at the same time. So then when I come off stage, they got to play it back for me so I can see what we just shot to see what we need to do next. You know, what we got or didn't get or how it looked. So it was a long process to star in and direct. It's already hard enough just direct.
Right. And how was it with COVID as well too? Because I know you had made sure everybody was tested, everybody was safe. How was that whole process filming during a pandemic?
Yeah, well, what I did was I used the same crew 2 times, and I sent them links on where they could go to get free COVID tests, and we socially distanced. Everybody had on masks. We had antibacterial wipes, and we had hand sanitizer. Awesome. Everybody's meals were individually packaged, you know, so nobody had to touch anybody else's stuff. And yeah, we followed the CDC guidelines. So, and everybody felt comfortable because it was taken seriously, you know.
Yeah, that's good. And in the movie, Fat Stripper, there's a lot of references to Lizzo. And I wanted to say, do you want Lizzo to potentially be the fat stripper, you know?
Yeah, I want Lizzo to be in whatever happens next with Fat Stripper. So I would like to make that a Big Girls Hustlers and have Lizzo be one of the fat strippers.
Perfect. That's what my thought process was too. I was like, oh, Lizzo would be perfect for this, you know? And I know you kind of was all a little shaky about the title because, you know, we do live in the PC political correct culture now, you know, so maybe you're going to have to change it, you know, once it gets featured.
You know, the title, okay, so for instance, last night while I was on stage, I mentioned what I had been doing during the pandemic, and I said I wrote, directed, and produced and starred in a film called Fat Stripper. Soon as I said the title, the whole audience erupted. You know, the title was funny before I even got into the specifics about the film. And I don't think the title should be changed because I don't agree with political correctness. And when I go on stage, I say whatever I want to say. I don't believe in. We're all grown. Y'all in here drinking liquor. If y'all can't handle words, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. And I feel like with comedy, it should be protected. You know, everybody needs to laugh and everybody needs that outlet, that escape from reality. And if you can bring joy to people and make people laugh, there's no harm in that, you know?
And as long as you're not telling people to kill somebody or trying to incite violence, I think you should be able to say what you feel.
Right. And you know what? You want to talk about the last scene too, because you guys had to go back and re-record the voices for that, right? Because the last scene you guys were like kicked out the strip. Well, not kicked out. You just ran out of time.
Right. We were over budget, so we were doing the last scene outside of the club, and the generator was running. It was so loud that we had to go back in and what they call ADR it. We had to go and re-record the last scene's audio. And that's why it sounds so good. You can't even sell anything with bad audio.
No. And I was going to say, it was so perfect. Everything was on time. Like everything that you did, it was very meticulous. And I just really appreciated that. Like how much effort you put into it. Because with both the films, Fat Stripper and Justus, you had to find a budget for these films and stuff like that. Can you talk a little bit about that and how much it really costs to do like a feature film?
Yeah. Well, actually, both of those films were self-financed, and the budget was $10,000 each. And if you try to make any of these into a feature, you're gonna probably need about $500,000 to do it the right way.
Man, there ain't no pandemic discount either.
And no pandemic. And Fat Stripper, you're going to need stunt people. And union stunt people, that's going to eat your budget up right there.
Oh, man.
So it's a very expensive process.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
And so with Fat Stripper also, I wanted to say the one thing that I liked about it was that even though it wasn't like a large cast or anything like that, the way you had the different characters and stuff, you had I forgot what the name was in the movie, but the girl with the long tongue, because you had like your old clients and stuff like that. I love that whole scene.
Yeah, her name in the movie was Tesla. But
Tesla, yeah.
Tesla was played by a props comic and a comedian named The Funny Lady. Her name is Yvette, but her name is The Funny Lady, and she's a LA-based stand-up. And Yvette is hilarious. She played Tesla. Another comic that I had, his name was Chip Nicholson. He played the gay bartender.
Oh, yeah.
Chip is so funny. Let me tell you the funny thing about Chip. Chip was heaven sent because I had one guy that was supposed to play that role, and he flaked out the day before. I couldn't get him back on the phone or anything. And never called back. I couldn't get him on the line. And we were, it was just crazy. So the guy, Isaac, who played the guy who was talking about me on stage, he said, I got somebody else. This guy just won an NBC comedy contest. He co-won it with another girl, and he's available. I'll call him. So he called the guy, and I was like, he was Latino. And that's why there was lines like homo estas, because he was supposed to be a Latino gay bartender.
Oh, okay. Because I thought that line was funny.
Yeah. So this guy said he'd do it. I talked to him on the phone. I'm in the makeup chair getting ready for this scene. It's like 10 a.m. And I'm like, Isaac, where is he? He's not here. No, where is he? His scene is like 2 scenes away. So can't find him. I called him on the phone. Phone's going straight to voicemail. I'm panicking. See, this is another thing when you're directing, starring in. When people fall out, it just messes you all up. You can't even think straight. So he doesn't get on the phone. Isaac comes in and he says, Alycia, you're gonna have to use somebody else. He stayed out all night long clubbing, got drunk. He finally answered the phone and he's slurring in his home bed an hour away. I was like, oh my God. I broke out into another sweat because I'm like, I gotta replace him. And who am I gonna replace him with? Isaac said, my friend Chip is here with me, and Chip is not only a comic, he's an actor. I said, okay, well, ask Chip to come back into the makeup room. So I give Chip his size, which just means his part of the script, not the whole thing. And I said, Chip, if I give you this, can you go away for like an hour and then, memorize these lines and fill in for me? Chip said, sure. He took his stuff, went off to the side. I saw Chip off to the side, going over his lines and getting off book. Chip killed it.
Yes. And we wouldn't even have known that was like a last minute thing, because the timing and everything and the way you guys played off of each other, it was impeccable.
Yeah, Chip elevated me. He was that good, So Chip is good. Chip is good. All these people that I've worked with, they're gonna be in my camp forever. Like how Spike Lee kept the same, he did. Yeah, so that's what you call looking out for good people. And Chip and Isaac, they've really been there and really helped me out. Chip did that himself. He took his shirt off. I didn't have that. He had the little bandana, Tupac bandana around his head. That was all Chip.
Wow.
No shirt on in the bar. I was cracking up laughing. So, So he did it. And Smitty, let's talk about the guy who played
Smitty. Yes, Smitty.
Didn't know, because I was Sweet Cheek, because that was my old stripper name. So Smitty and I dated 20 years ago. So it turned into a rom-com, a romantic comedy. So we dated 20 years ago. And Smitty is 6'5". The real guy, his name is Michael Turner Tucker. And he told me how hard of a time he has getting booked because the actresses are so short. These little Jada Pinkett Smiths and long, they're like 5'2", 5'3", 5'4".
Right, he's like all the way up here.
Yeah, they be shooting his chest from their head. So, so he said he has a hard time booking because of his height. So, and it's a travesty because he's really good.
Yeah, he was really good, and I love the scene after the credits where you guys are doing the, for me, I love that scene. That was hilarious. Like, did you write that, or y'all was just playing off of each other naturally?
At the end, I told him, I sent him a link, and I said, "Watch this." I said, so you can get what we're doing. So I sent him a link, and it was other people saying, "It's the blah 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 for me, and it's the blah blah for me." I said, so we'll just come up with 4 things each, and then we just he had it like a day in advance. But we
Okay.
knew once we got in that end credit scene that we were just going to say 4 things each.
That's so awesome. Yes, you guys have to check out Fat Stripper. I'm telling you, hilarious. But it's a 2-for-1 actually, because also Just Us. It's a double feature, right? On
Yes.
flealeetv.
Yes. Yeah, flealeetv. Yeah.
flealeetv, yes.
Yeah.
And let me go ahead and play the trailer for that one. But before we do that, Just Us is kind of like a play on word, right? Because it's Just Us, but Justus, as in JUSTICE.
Right. Right. Yep. Sometimes there's justice and sometimes there's just us.
Right. Let's go ahead and play that trailer.
Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. You've been out here living your best life all these years.
I give back to the community.
College boy.
I'm a good man.
Family man.
What do you want from me?
Confess!
I know I can never undo what I did before, but I'm trying to atone.
All you souls, dry skin.
Love this one. I'm telling you. Can you just kind of just set it up for the people, what it's about and everything, and how you came up with it? Because it's definitely a transition from Fat Stripper, which was a rom-com, and this one is more like a thriller.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is it's about a judge who got away with a crime when he was in college. Him and a couple of his buddies, got away with a crime. And I don't want to tell the whole thing, but the main character comes back and they have a discussion about what happened then and what should be done about it now.
Right. And what I liked about it too is because it's funny because I'm doing this thing on my channel tomorrow. It's a town hall and we're going to be talking about race. And sometimes I feel that with and I'll just be blunt about it, with white people, I feel that sometimes it's all like, oh, because I'm not in particular a racist and I don't really try to say racist thing, that doesn't make me racist, because basically the judge is saying like, I voted for Obama, I did this, I did that, he even had the picture with Obama, Hillary Clinton and stuff like that. And it's like so many things like microaggressions that people don't know when, we're in the workforce, and just so many different things. And I thought that was like so brilliant the way you did that. Like that was on purpose, correct?
Yeah, that was on purpose. And I like to listen to the critiques when people see it and they let me know what they thought. And somebody said to me, and I thought this was a really high compliment, they said I had to watch this twice. It was like a Jordan Peele movie because I had to see it twice to make sure it was what I thought it was.
Right.
And I didn't miss anything. And, so when people have to see it twice, I sure had to watch Us twice.
Yeah, I watched that like 5 times.
Yeah, because I was like, now what? So, and that's what he was saying. He said he had to watch it 2 times. And I was like, okay, good. I'm glad you had to watch it 2 times, because sometimes when it's easy to get 1 time in a thriller, you didn't make it deep enough.
Right. And how'd you get the actors for this one?
How did I get the actors? Myself and a producer friend of mine named Angela Burris. We did all the casting. So we learned from the casting director, because the project was too small. We couldn't afford to bring her on. We learned from her how you do it and how you go about getting the actors on Actors Access and things like that. And I mean, it was a process, and as the auditions came through, we had to go back on and look at them. And then we did. Yeah, it was a process. It was a process. We had to put the breakdowns out. Then we had to look at all the people that would come through, and we selected them. We selected the people, and it was only, as you see, it was only 3 really main actors, and then 3 of the young guys. Right. Yeah. So it wasn't a whole bunch of parts, but the 2 of us took care of it.
Okay. And where did you guys film it at?
We filmed this in Sun Valley at a location. We filmed it in one location. It's a guy who has a bunch of sets, and he has the outdoor wilderness set. and then he had the indoor office set, and he had a courtroom set. So I had to pay one fee, and we had 12 hours to get it all done.
Ooh, okay. And you were able to do it. I mean, like the way you move. I guess you had practice on having to move fast and get everything done, time it. And this one you weren't starring in, so it made it a little bit easier. But it probably was still a challenge.
Yeah, it was a challenge, but yeah. I learned a lot. I will never, ever, ever do anything without a monitor for myself. So I learned that you got to have a monitor, because there was 1 or 2 shots that I missed that I would not have missed had I had a monitor. So that was a takeaway from that experience. But everybody, the actors were great. I had a wardrobe designer named Pablo Borges. Pablo is one of the top. I will never make a move again without Pablo. He had the actors come in. He fitted them. All their clothes were tailored to them.
Oh, wow.
There was period pieces. The costumes that they had on, the guys running in the wilderness, they had to look like guys from the 60s.
Yeah, because it was in the 60s. Yeah.
He had to have 60s clothes. He put the judge in suspenders because he wanted like an old Southern racist. All that stuff was wardrobe, and he got a lot of the stuff from Universal Studios wardrobe department. So I had a real wardrobe designer on this.
That is awesome. Yeah. And and what I loved about it too was that the visual, like the production, how when it was like the throwback, how it did look old and from the 60s and stuff like that. And then when it was brought back to when they were in the office, it was more modern and stuff like that. So I love that little detail that you did. That was perfect. Amazing.
Yeah, we tried to use a combination of black and white and color, to differentiate too certain parts of the time period. So that came together in editing. So so it was I like what we were able to do with it, and I'm gonna figure out a way to move forward with Just Us, trying to figure out exactly how I want to proceed with that one.
Right. And are you into like thrillers or like horror movies or anything like that?
Yeah, I am.
What's some of your favorites?
I like Get Out.
Yeah, I love Get Out.
I really love Get Out. I can watch that over and over again. And I like the old time slasher movies. The Friday the 13th and the Halloweens and stuff. I love that. Let me see what else besides Get Out for as far as recent stuff. Us was a little too much for me. It was good, but I like
it was very deep. Like it was confusing, and like I said, I had to watch it 5 times to really understand it. And to tell you the truth, I still might not understand it.
Right, y'all wouldn't think that hard, Right,
I don't want to think that hard, Yeah, please don't make me think that hard.
So
but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I like the old movies like Fatal Attraction and Cape Fear. Movies like that, Pacific Heights. Stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and one question that I didn't get to ask you about comedy: who were some of your inspirations, and did anybody take you under their wing and kind of show you the ropes on how to do stuff, or it was really like on your own?
My experience has been that the men help out other men in stand-up comedy. That's why I'm always impressed when I see a male comic who helps out the female comics. One big case of that is Cat Williams.
Okay, Cat Williams. I love Cat Williams.
Cat looks out for the women. And Cat is a genius. So Cat's one of my favorites. Chris Rock has always been my number 1 favorite. Chris
Rock, yes.
Yeah, I pattern myself after Chris Rock because I like what he does with current events.
Yeah. And he nails it too, with the current events and his timing and just the jokes, everything is just funny what comes out his mouth. There's never a time where I'm all like, oh, that Chris Rock special, that wasn't all that. No, Chris Rock nails it every time.
Yeah, Chris Rock doesn't have any bad specials.
Right.
Because what kills me about a special, even at my small level, if I had a special and I looked at it and I didn't think it was funny, you ain't never gonna see it. We're gonna shell that, and I'm gonna try again until I get it right. You only gonna see the stuff that's killing, you know. But these people put anything out.
Right.
So,
Hey, if the money's good, I guess you just put it out,
the
right?
money's good, but I'm like, you can't get your reputation back. You don't want to get in the he ain't funny or she ain't funny category. So
Right.
I say a lot of this stuff should have been shelved, but that's just me. But and I love Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yep.
Growing up, I really liked Margaret Cho. Margaret
Oh,
Cho
Margaret
kept me
Cho,
in
yeah.
Oh my goodness, that daggone Margaret Cho, especially her earlier stuff. God dang, that girl, her earlier stuff was just hilarious. A lot of people's earliest things were so funny. Early Roseanne, early Ellen DeGeneres. You know, the early stuff was really, really funny. Now they done made too much money to be funny. But
Right.
but when they were relatable, they were hilarious.
Yes.
So yeah. So but it's a lot of comics today that are coming up that's really funny, and they just scratching the surface, like Roy Wood Jr. So it's a lot of people on their way now, and I'm excited to watch their stuff in the future.
Yes. And one of the female comics that I feel like is really killing it and really getting her just due is Tiffany Haddish. I love Tiffany Haddish. I feel that, she was kind of when they did the Girls Trip movie, it was kind of like, oh, who's this lady? But I mean, she was the breakout star of that movie, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. What happened with Tiffany is what happens to me a lot on a smaller scale. When I get booked to do stuff, like I went in and auditioned for The Resident on Fox, the drama with Morris Chestnut, the medical drama.
Yes.
And so you'll get the sides and you'll do your audition. A lot of these auditions now on self-tape. You send it in. They tape in Atlanta, the Atlanta area. And I booked the part. And when I got there, the lines were cool. But I went up to the director and I said, "Do you mind if I get one take where I can just do me?" So he said, "Well, let me call over the writer." So some woman walks over. I mean, not that this matters, but Caucasian lady walks over and he tells her, Alycia wants to know if she can get a take. Sure. Just as long as we get down, what's on the paper, that's fine. Cool. So I do it their way. We do multiple angles of the way that it's written. The last take, I get to do me. So what I like is I love Eddie Murphy, the actor, So Eddie does all kinds of crazy stuff. Eddie be like, "It's showtime." Eddie is the GOAT. So what I did in my take was at the end, I basically my character disses Morris Chestnut for the other doctor. And I asked him, we get a picture. And Morris Chestnut thinks I'm asking him to be in it. And then I give him my phone. I said, "You don't mind, do you, hun?" So I give him my phone so he can take the picture and not be in the picture. So at the end, I say my lines, and then I go over to the doctor and I go, "Mwah," and I give him a big kiss on his cheek, like that. And so and then they take the picture, and that's the one they aired on Fox.
Oh wow!
So I'm saying all that to say we comics and comedic actors, we know what's funny that ain't even on the page. Tiffany, when she did Girls Trip, 90% of that was her own dialogue. 90% of that was Tiffany going off the dome, riffing, doing part of her stand-up act. She didn't even really use the lines that was written in the script. That's why you saw something hilarious, because she was able to be herself and do her. That was what you saw, was not scripted. That was Tiffany being Tiffany.
That is awesome. And and she's naturally just funny. Like other comedians I love is like Lunel. Lunel is another one that I really like. Lunel is funny as hell. Please check out Lunel if you guys don't know who she is, but Lunel is funny.
Lunel is getting her just desserts now. She done shot 2 Eddie Murphy movies. She was in Dolomite, and now she's in Coming to America too.
Right.
So that's the thing. The cream rises to the top. It just takes longer than the internet acts, because they get their 60 seconds up and they get their numbers up. And now they're, in the comedy clubs getting more work than a seasoned comedian, because they have the fan base and they have the clicks and the likes and the followers. But the Lunels who've been chugging along, when they hit, it's permanent because they had the goods all the time.
Right. That's true. And question for you. What's coming up for you in the next, few months? I know you kind of gave us an exclusive about rewriting Trade into a mini series, which is dope. I'm definitely gonna watch that when that's done. But
Yeah.
like, what else is coming up for you?
I actually have a podcast that's going to be coming out, I think, in around February called Nightmare Road Stories, where I interviewed comics about their nightmare story on the road, something that happened to them that was just crazy. And I had Lunell on, Roy Wood Jr. Roy Wood Jr. tells this hilarious story about these drug dealers trying to pay him in cocaine. So, I mean, just the funniest stories. I just have Rita Brent on, the millennial that's killing the game.
Yes.
So Nightmare Road Stories is going to be a popular podcast that I think should do well because it's about one thing in particular. And it doesn't have to be just comics. It could be, people who do theater. They're on the road. It could be musicians. They're on the road. Anybody who can't sleep in their own bed when they're doing what they do qualifies for the show. And so I have that coming up. And I've written 2 more feature films that I'm going to sell as features. I'm not shooting any more short films, features. So I have 2 more features that I'm trying to sell. So I have some meetings for those. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. But yeah, between like you said, turning Trade into a mini series, turning Fat Strippers into I'm working with another writer, and we're doing a Hustlers version of Fat Strippers.
Oh,
the film. And yeah, so just creating at home. That's one thing. We're still in a pandemic, so
right.
we just need to spend this time to whatever it is we want to do in life. We need to spend this time moving ourselves and our brands forward, no matter what it is.
Right. Hey, and I might even have to send you a script over. Shout out to Laura. I don't know if Laura's watching, but I told this story on my podcast a long time ago, but I basically answered a Craigslist ad. I was on Casual Encounters, back when they had it. I responded to this one chick, right? And, she told me, hey, meet me here. So I met her in the room. All of a sudden, I sat down. A guy came out the room. They was trying to have a bisexual experience with me. Luckily, I got out safe.
You was part of a throuple.
Yeah, a throuple. Luckily, I got out safe, but my friend Laura, we took that and did a screenplay. It actually won second place at a film festival. So, we kind of want to start doing that and then also turn that into a short film. So, when I found out you were doing short films, I was like, wow, let me soak up as much information. Let me be a sponge and soak up as much information. So definitely, I want to thank you for everything that you have done, all the information that you have given us today. Wow.
Yeah, and if you're ever ready to shoot your short, I can give you the information of my crew because they're really, really good.
Okay, awesome. Well, Alycia, tell the people where they can find you at, and then also as far as your social media, and you still are in El Paso, and you got shows this weekend, right?
Yeah, tonight, Saturday night, and Sunday night. Yeah, but the comic strip of El Paso. So yeah, well, they can find me on Instagram, Alycia Cooper, the number 2. I'm on Twitter at Alycia Cooper. I just got out of Facebook jail today. So my Facebook, I'll be able to respond again because I was in Facebook jail for 7 days. I was in a hole for 7 days.
What you do if you don't mind telling us?
So, I can't stand racist people who just say dumb stuff that's not factual. So this guy puts out this thing after the Capitol insurrection in DC, and he's going to say that it wasn't as dangerous as they tried to make it seem, and at least no cities were burned down, and there was no looting and no blah blah blah. And I said, sir, you are full of crap. And I did call him a dumb bitch or stupid bitch, one of them, something bitch. And I said, and I didn't think that was a problem. Bitch is a network approved word.
Right. Hey, it's a female dog, right?
It's a female dog. It's a network approved word, and it's an opinion.
Right.
So I cussed him out, and I told him, I said, first of all, they done walked out with a lectern, Nancy Pelosi's laptop, her mail. Right. All that and
the zip ties to tie them up and everything. It was a planned attack.
Right, it was a planned attack. But the things they took are considered looting. Anytime you go in and come out with something that doesn't belong to you, you're looting. So I said, what happened to when the looting starts, the shooting starts? So he wants to tell me there was no looting. And I gave him examples of, yes, there were. We're not even going to talk about the feces and the urine that was left in people's offices and all on the floor. The news media don't want to talk about that. Let there have been black people and there was some feces around. That would have been the lead to every story for the next 6 months.
Right.
But nobody wants to talk about the feces and the urine. Now, that's animals. When you want to call groups of people animals, only an animal pees and poops in the hallways.
Right.
So, and in people's offices. So, I corrected him when he was saying things that weren't factual, and I did use the word bitch. So they put me in the hole for 7 days. So I just got out today.
I can't believe they did that off of that. It's crazy. Facebook, get it together.
They called it harassment and bullying. I said, so they let you, write down your appeal for why you disagree with the decision. I said, how is one exchange each harassment? I ain't even get a second exchange. Now, if I'm going back and forth, browbeating you and trying to make you see things my way, maybe that's harassment. How is one response to tyranny bullying?
Right. You didn't even get to say what you probably really wanted to say.
Yeah, I was really nice, and that's not harassment or bullying. I said, y'all don't even have the right language for what y'all trying to say right now. How is that? I'm responding to tyranny. Right. All I got was one response, and I'm harassing and bullying. It just didn't add up. But at least I got to type in why I disagreed with it. Didn't decrease my sentence any. But at least I got to be. I don't even know if anybody read it, but I got it in.
Right. That's if he didn't delete it. He probably deleted it too. Like, I ain't gonna let that so and so do this to me.
But what really made me mad was I got suspended for 7 days, and the lying propagandist didn't get suspended at all.
Right, and that post is probably still up too. That's
with the lies. With the lies.
I can't believe that. Well, Alycia, thank you so much for being on today's show. I appreciate you. I'm gonna have you come back because I know you a political pundit too, quote unquote.
Speaking of that, let me tell you, I'm glad you said that because it just reminded me. I just got a call yesterday. Fox Soul has hired me to be a regular panelist on the Tammy Mack show on Fox Soul every Friday night at 9:00 Eastern, 9:00 Pacific, midnight Eastern. I've been on there like the last 6 Fridays.
Yeah,
I've been doing a whole rollout. We're like the political cocktails with the queens.
Yes, that's what I got from watching it. I was like, oh, this is the political version of the cocktails with the queen. You need to say, you know what? You need to say something crazy so you can get on the Shade Room because Vivica, Lisa, Claudia, they always on the Shade Room for saying something controversial. You guys need to do that so y'all be circulating too.
Okay, I'm about to think of something crazy. But so they're gonna make the announcement next week and start doing a rollout. So now I'm political. So now I've added to my already full list of things to do. I'm writing, and before this year is out, I'm writing a political book.
Okay. So, you got to. And I know it's gonna be funny too. That's the thing.
Yeah. And one chapter is gonna be about parents and how not to raise a future Donald Trump. Because I blame Fred and Mary for the bullshit we watching. They dead.
Right. Oh, that's the parents' name, right?
Yeah, Fred and Mary, they dead. They ain't even got to deal with the aftermath. We stuck. I'm about to.
They just had them and let them run wild.
I'm gonna exhume Fred and Mary, beat their ass, and put them back in the ground. That's how pissed off I am with Fred and Mary.
Oh man, go ahead and give the people where they can find it on Fox Soul. It's on YouTube as well too, right?
Yeah, they said Tammy said something about it's on Apple TV, a few other platforms, but it's definitely on Fox Soul app, and it's on YouTube as well.
Okay, definitely. I'll go ahead and link it in the description too as well, so people can find that.
Yes,
but
I'll
man,
be on tonight. I'll be on tonight at 9:00 Pacific time.
Okay, cool. I'll definitely be tuning in for that. But this has been an amazing interview. I don't want to hold up too much of your time. Man, I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm hoping for major success with everything. It's only up from here because I mean you have already planted the seeds, and now it's just gonna grow and grow and grow. And like I said, I want you back on the show, and we're gonna figure out a topic, and then we just gonna rant, have fun. So thank you so much, Alycia.
Thank you for having me, AT2.
Yes. And peace out, y'all. Thank you for checking out the show. It's your boy AT2. Remember, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. And if you got $1 too, go ahead and drop that in the cash app. But thank y'all. We love y'all. Deuces.